Hello friends, good morning to all of you, and today in this video we are going to cover about the retail banking and wealth management, and we have already covered the 19 chapters so far, and this is related to the chapter number 20th from the module C of the retail banking and the wealth management, which is related to the topic CRM, that is customer relationship management. So do confirm the audio video quality at the earliest so that we can proceed. And further, if you want all the previous videos, just do WhatsApp me writing RBWM. So you have to write RBWM. You need to WhatsApp it to the number 83609 44207. So the previous year questions and the PDF notes all are available. So just do WhatsApp me, and further I'll be sending all the details to you. So it's about the chapter number 20th from the module C of the retail banking and the wealth management. So what is CRM? So CRM is what? CRM is a strategic tool. It's a strategic approach, we can say. It's a strategic tool, we can say, which is adopted by the bank so as to manage the customers and so as to improve the customers, so as to optimize the customer interaction. So it's about the managing, improving, and optimizing. MIO, we can say. So CRM is about that we want to manage, improve, and optimize our customer interactions, right? So how the customers are interacting with us. So our main objective under the CRM is to what? That we are to establish, maintain, and strengthen the long-term customer banker relationship, right? And in this case, we do use what? We do use the technology, we do use the tech, right? We do use the data analytics, data analytics is being used, and the customer insights. These three things are being used so as to make the CRM possible, right? So we use the technology, we use the data analytics, we use the customer insights so as to get the idea, and further so as to establish, maintain, and strengthen the long-term customer relationship that is being done. And it helps banks so as to enhance the satisfaction, retention, and loyalty in the customers, because we do offer them the personalized product services and further communication in the delivery channels. So what are the features of the CRM? The first one, it's about the 360-degree customer view. Like, you do provide a complete view of the customer, like the transaction history, preferences, complaints, everything will be covered at the single place. And there is the data integration that we use, like customer data, like from the different branches, from mobile banking, let's say ATM, social media, or the other channel, that is all unified at a customer profile level, like all is combined in the customer profile level. And based upon the data that you are having, you provide them with the custom product. Targeted offers are being given, personalized messages are being sent, and relevant financial solutions are given to them. So that's about the personalization. And the another one, it's related to the customer segmentation. That, like, we can make the categories based upon their income, behavior, profitability, based upon their banking needs, etc. That can be done. That's about the customer segmentation. And based upon them, based upon the customer segmentation, we will be communicating the things to the customers, right? And then it's related to the interaction tracking. Now, what is interaction tracking? Like, we are to record all the interactions of the customer, like whatsoever we have interacted with the customer, will be recording all such interactions so that we can be having a better follow-up, so we can be consistent in the communication. That's the interaction tracking. So these are the benefits, these are the features of customer relationship management. So we are having a 360-degree customer view, right? And we do the data integration from the multiple sources, and we do provide the personalized uh, products and the custom services to the customers. And customer segmentation is based on the multiple parameters, and interaction tracking is there, right? And what are the objectives of the CRM? Now, if we look at the objectives, what are the objectives? First of all, we want to acquire the new customer. We want the new customers so that we can be more profitable. And at the same time, we want to retain the existing customers and profitable customers for the longest possible period, right? And relationship expansion, like so as to increase the cross selling. so that we can do cross sell, we can do upselling by encouraging the customers as to use a more banking product. At the same time, we are to use the cost effective delivery channels. We have to use a cost effective delivery channels. In a way, we want to do what? We want to do the cost optimization, we can say. Using this particular part, we can do the cost optimization. We can look at those particular channels which are more profitable to us, right? And what is the need of CRM in bank? First of all, CRM reduces a duplication of the work, so much more operational efficiency will be there, right? And the we have to derive more value from the employees, like employees can assess the customer information quickly and they can serve customer more effectively, right? So we are deriving more value from the customers in a way. And also definitely we have to compete in retail banking segment. We have to compete in retail banking segment where there is a lot of competition is there, so we can offer superior customer experience using the CRM. And definitely we can be managing the NPAs much more better way. Why? Because customer data is already with us, the customer behavior analysis is already with us, so we can analyze the early warning signals. So CRM can help us so as to identify the EWS, early warning signals, right? And the CRM increases the fee-based income also, because using the CRM, we can cross-sell, we can upsell. Now, when we do cross-sell like insurance, mutual fund, credit card, etc., or the local account, or demat services, or even the advisory services, we can earn more fee-based income. And then delivery channel efficacy. Like, what is it about? It's about that it helps the bank so as to select the right mix of the channels, right? So as for the different customer segments, so that we can be having the proper cost optimization over there, right? At the same time, CRM is helping bank so as to basically enhance the customer loyalty, like personalized services you are providing to a customer, so that will improve what? That will improve the customer retention, and the long term loyalty will be there. And how does this CRM works? How does this CRM is going to work? Like CRM system collects the data from multiple channels. There are multiple channels, like we are having the bank website or the mobile banking, internet banking. We are having the physical channels like branches, relationship managers. We are having the contact channels like the call centers, telephone banking. Marketing channels are there like social media, promotional media is there. So we can be looking into the data. So we have to collect that particular data, collect the customer information from the multiple delivery channels, and so as to unify that particular data at single place. And then it's related to after the collection is being done, then it's about the security concern. Now you are having that much data with you, right? Related to the customer profile, related to the purchase history, related to concerns, profitability, etc. Now the another thing, it's about that you are storing the sensitive customer data also, right? So as to bank to is to maintain the highest level of the data protection. So bank is to protect itself from the cyber attacks. Like it could be the case that there are cyber attacks, and you are to tackle those cyber attacks also, like unauthorized access to the customer data through hacking or malware. Or it could be the identity theft, like misuse of the personal information or the financial information of the customer. Or it could be like leakage in the data, like the leakage of the confidential information, or unauthorized access could be there, or it could be anything. So that's about it. Now, what is the CRM software? What is a CRM software? So it's a specialized application which is used by bank for the CRM purposes, customer relationship management purposes. So it is a centralized platform which will be collecting data. So the process is related to that. First of all, we have to collect the data. We'll be storing the data. We'll be analyzing the data. Like we will be processing the data in such a way that we can get the maximum output from it, right? So it's about the CRM software. Now, after that, let's have a look at the what are the different features of this CRM software. What are the different features of this CRM software? The first one, it's about that we can do the market automation. Like the CRM software can do the market automation itself, like the activities like email campaigns, SMS campaigns, or let's say WhatsApp campaigns or follow-ups. Those can be automated automatically. That will be done. Like if this criteria is being met, we will be sending this message, we'll be sending this personalized text to the customer, something like that, right? And further, the sales force automation is being done, like the lead management can be done, like the sales forecasting can be given, like it will be much more better helpful in customer acquisition, and we can monitor the sales performance also using it, right? Further, it's related to the contact center automation, like it is going to automate the customer support interaction process. There are IVR system, instant voice response, like you'll be getting a automated call, it's a AI based call, right? Or it could be a chat bot, or it could be a pre-recorded audio responses that will be getting, like even the complaints can be handled, like if a customer is having any grievance, they will be calling you and further that's done, like it can be automating everything. So contact center automation is there. And the fourth one is related to geolocation technology or location based services. Like you can be, being a bank can be creating a specific region based, or let's say location based marketing can be done. Like you are in Darjeeling, you'll be looking at an ad based upon your culture. You are in Punjab, you are from Punjab, you'll be finding an ad based upon your culture so that you feel more in targeted about it, right? So it's about it. Then it's a implementation process, CRM implementation process. So the first thing that is to be done, that is a business process evaluation. First thing that is to be done is a business process evaluation. Like banks evaluate their existing business processes. Why to evaluate? Because we are to understand the nature of the products, we have to understand the nature of the services, right? So whenever we are to implement the CRM, first of all, we are to understand our own products and services. We are to understand the customer handling procedures that we are following, or let's say the workflow efficiency that we are having, right? What is the main purpose? That we have to identify the gaps between the existing system and the CRM system. Like these are the gaps, these are the standards that we have to follow, and this is right now what we are doing now, right now what we are doing, and there might be some gap, and we are to basically bridge that particular gap using the CRM system. So we have to evaluate the business processes. Second thing that we have to do, that it's about the information process evaluation, like the data sources we are having, the data flow, the data accuracy, the data quality, because data is a main thing. So high quality data means if you are putting in garbage, you'll be having the garbage out. So you are to integrate it with the high quality data, right? That is very much essential for the success of the CRM. And the third one, it's about the information system. It's about the information system. So banks do also assess the existing IT systems so as to check the compatibility with the CRM software, integration capability and all. And the fourth one is a internal organizational alignment. Like internally, are you aligned? Basically, CRM implementation is to match the organization culture also, the employee readiness also, management support also. If those things are basically available, only the CRM can be implemented successfully, right? So there are different stages in implementation in CRM. The first one, it's about the identification of the customers. Like the banks do identify the target customer segments so as to focus CRM activities. It's not like that we are going to implement the CRM on all the customers. We have to identify the customers first of all, and then we'll be classifying the customers like based on their age, based on their profile, based on their service cost, based on their potential, everything, right? And further, we will then be interacting through the CRM using the for the most valued customers. Like bank focus on personalized communication, priority service for those customers who are high value customers, right? Who are more profitable and the most profitable to the bank. And then the fourth one, it's about the customization of the products and services for the customer segmentation. Like for each customer segment that you're targeting, you have to provide them with the tailored products as per their needs and preferences. That's it, right? That's the implementation stages in CRM. There are four stages. One, it is related to the identification of the customers, classification of the customers, interaction with the most valued customers, and customization of products and services as per the segment. Now, what are the benefits now, that much that you know right now, that what are the benefits? So just do let me know what are the benefits of it. So first one, it's related to customer satisfaction. is increased and you can do much more better cross selling. So you're having the better cross selling operation opportunities with you, and the operational efficiency is also enhanced. Like automation is there, so it reduces the manual work. Competition advantage that you are having, like you're providing the focused services to the customers, so you can compete very effectively. And improved customer service is there. Effective relationship management can be done, right? And at the same time, customer retention is increased, so you can be managing the multi delivery channels. The customer retention is overall increased because you are having much more better, stronger relationship with the customer, which will definitely be improving the loyalty, and that will be reducing the customer attrition, right? Then it's about training the employees in CRM, like customer relationship skills are to be given. They are to know that how to use the CRM software. They are to basically handle the complaints. They are to use the identify the opportunities for additional product sales, etc. So these are related to the training employees in CRM, because well-trained employees helps banks so as to create the strong customer brand relationships that will be basically like providing the improved or service, and for the enhanced customer loyalty will be there on, right? So that's about the chapter number 20th from the module C. That was a small chapter, right? Then after that, it's about the chapter number 21. It's about the service standards for the retail banking. It's about the service standards for the retail banking. That's a chapter number 21 from the module C of the retail banking and the wealth management. So the first thing that we have to cover under the chapter number 21, it's about the BCSBI, that is Banking Codes and Standards Board of India, right? So just do let me know first of all, is BCSBI working right now or it is dissolved? Any idea if you're having the as per the latest updates? Is BCSB is present right now, right? Or it is just gone, or it's not there anymore? So it was an independent and autonomous banking industry body. It was, but now it is not there. It is not there, but still the practices are being there, right? So BCSB was dissolved in 2021, right? Now those are being dealt by with the RBI's regulatory and supervisory framework, right? So BCSBI is not there. BCSBI is not there. Clear with it? So now let's have a look at it. So RBI basically constituted the committee. RBI actually constituted a committee, and that was upon CPP APS. Now, what is CPP APS? That is Committee on Procedures and Performance Audit of Public Services. So whatsoever the procedures and performance related to public services there was a committee which was formed by the Reserve Bank of India in 2003, right? And it was under the chairmanship of Shri S.S. Tarapur, right? Who was the former Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India. And further, the committee was basically formed so as to address the issues, right? So whatsoever the let's say the banking services which were available in the common public, there were some issues related to it. So as to address those issues, this committee was formed so as to improve the quality, right? And based upon this recommendations by this particular committee, which was CPPPS, the BCSBI was formed in 2006 based upon these recommendations. The BCSBI was established in 2006, and it was a collaborative initiative of the Reserve Bank of India and the banks. So what is BCSBI actually? It's a voluntary organization. Like if we look at the BCSBI, it's a voluntary organization, and the objective is to what, that we are to prescribe the minimum banking standards, the basic standards that must be followed, like when the banks are providing the services, the basic standards. So these in a way became a benchmark, like at least these bare minimum uh, customer services are to be given, right? These standards are to be followed. So member banks are dealing with the individual customers, and further it acts as what the BCSB acted as a independent watchdog for the customer service standards. Clear with it? So that's basically related to it. But as I told you, there was an update that finally it was dissolved in 2021, right? Because regulatory functions are now integrated into the RBI's customer protection framework. Like under what? I just told you na, that under the RBI's regulatory and supervisory framework. Now those are being handled. Okay. Now let's have a look at the main aims and objectives. What were there? Like why these were formed? Why the BCSPA was there? Because first thing it was related to that, so as to formulate and publish voluntary codes. So as to formulate and publish the voluntary codes. Why the voluntary comprehensive codes were required? Standards were required. So as for the fair treatment to the customers. So first thing first, it's basically related to what? It's related to so as to develop the banking codes, right? And the second thing it's related to, as I told you, that BCSB act as a independent and autonomous watchdog, right? So it basically does check the compliance. It monitors the compliance, right? So as to function as an independent watchdog, ensuring that the member banks are following the adopted codes or not. In true spirit, those are to be followed, not in the paper only, right? So that is to be done. So it's basically for the so as to monitor the compliance. Let me write over here so that you can be having the idea when you'll be like re-going through this PDF. So monitor the compliance, right? And also so as to have the agreement with the banks, so as to have the agreements with the banks, because the BCSB is entering into the agreements with the bank, so as to observe their code, so as to observe these standards. And for that particular purpose, are you to train the employees? Yes, definitely the training is to be imparted to the employees so that they can know the basic standards, right? So as to train the bank employees regarding the customer service standards, so as to about the ethical banking practices. And the fifth one, it's about the public awareness. So as to advertise and spread the awareness through the newspapers, through the journals, TV, radio, or any of the medias, because we want to spread the awareness among the customers that these are the minimum standards, minimum services that you are to get, right? You are eligible for that. You should be aware related to it. And the sixth one, it's about the educational activities, like so as to organize the seminars, conferences, training courses, etc., etc., related to the banking standards and their implementation, right? And if we look at the code of banks commitment, if we look at the code of banks commitment, there are two types of it. The first one is code of banks commitment to the customers. Second one is code of banks commitment to the MSC, that is micro and small enterprises. So code of banks commitment is basically code of customer rights, which is specifying the minimum standards, that these minimum standards are to be followed, right? So member banks were required to do what? They are to follow these minimum standards while they were dealing with the individual customers. So that is related to it. And if we look at the code of the bank's commitment to the customers, it deals with the individual customers. As the name suggests, it deals with the individual customers. And basically the name of code is what? It is code of bank's commitment to the customers. And it was released by Dr. Y.V. Reddy. It was released by Dr. Y.V. Reddy. And further, he was governor of the Reserve Bank of India then. And in an inaugural function, he basically did the same, right? And what are the main objectives? First of all, so as to promote fair practices, so as to promote the fair banking practices. That's the first thing, right? Setting up the minimum standards. And at the same time, so as to increase the transparency, like so as to help the banking customers so as to understand that what they should be reasonably expecting from the banks, right? And the third thing, it's related to encourage the competition, encourage the market forces through the competition. Like if a bank is giving these minimum services, we have to give much more services so that much more customer loyalty is toward us, right? And at the same time, so as to promote the safe and fair dealing when the digitalization is there, like when they are using the digital bank, minimum security standards which are to be followed or something like that. And also about the customer awareness, they wanted to increase awareness in the customers. So when the customer awareness improved, the customers themselves will be asking for these much standards to be followed, right? And the services which were basically covered under the code, first one, it's related to the deposit accounts, like the saving accounts, current account, all these accounts were covered, right? Payment services were covered, like NEFT, RTGS, EFT, etc. Government transactions were covered into it, like banking services related to the government receipts and payments. The investment services were like related to demat accounts and the equity, and let's say the government bonds. Currency exchange services, like you went for exchange facility, or it could be related to the third party insurance when you're selling through the bank, or bank assurance is being done, or the credit facilities, like the loans are being sanctioned, like the minimum standards which are to be followed. When the cards are being given, like the ATM cards, debit cards, etc., those are being given. Or it could also be related to the digital products, like related to mobile banking, internet banking, UPI, Bhim, Aadhaar Pay, those are also covered. So these are the services which were included as per the BCSPI, right? And then if it is related to the key commitments of member banks to the customers. After that, it's related to the key commitments of the member banks. Now, first thing, it's related to the right to fair treatment. Right to fair treatment. Like the member banks are expected that there will be fair, ethical, and customer friendly banking practices, right? And the some of the major commitments are like related to the compliance with the laws. First of all, that the member banks are to comply with the law. So whatsoever the different laws are there, the member banks should be complying with the laws. It's so first one, it's not about the practices, it's about like products and services which are being offered, those must be complying with the applicable laws, regulations, Reserve Bank of India guidelines, etc. That must be there, right? And definitely the customer oriented products must be there. The second thing, it's about the customer oriented products. So whatsoever the laws and regulations, those are to be followed, right? And customer needs must be taken care of, like banking protection services should suit the customer needs, and those must be aligning with the current banking and digital banking practices at least. Then the another one, it's about the ethical principles must be followed, like integrity, honesty, transparency. Those must be followed when we are dealing with the customers. That must also be taken care of. Ethical dealing must be there. And if we are providing the digital banking services, those must be secured enough. The minimum protocols are to be followed, that should be secured, that should be reliable, that should be technologically, we can say, robust, that should be right. And there should not be any discrimination, the very important one. Not any discrimination based on age, gender, religion, disability, financial status. No particular biasness should be there, no discrimination should be there. And the we should be promoting a fair and equitable relationship with the customers, like bank should be maintaining a equitable relationship with all the customers, right? The second thing, it's about the right to transparency, fair and honesty. Like I told you that the ethical standards must be followed. So there should be clear disclosures about the services which are being offered, like related to the price, related to the conditions, related to the responsibilities. Like clear disclosures should be there. Transparency must be there. And the complete information must be provided. The complete information must be provided. The customer should be receiving the complete details, like what is the minimum balance requirement, what penalties will be imposed, and what are the service charges. The complete information should be given to the customer. And the information should be accessible. That should be accessible. Now, how that information will become accessible? Like that should be available on their website. That should be like visible at their branches, or there should be a book related to it from where they can check. And at the same time, the copy of code should be provided to the customers. Why? Because then only they will be knowing about their right. So copy of code must be provided to the customers, like while you are opening the accounts or whenever they are requesting the same. And the code must also be displayed in the websites and must also be available at the branches, right? And the last one, the employees should be trained so that they know that the what are the minimum services which are to be offered, right? So that they can be explaining the code so that they can be implementing the same. That's about the right to transparency, fair and honest dealing, right? The first one, it was about what? It was about right to fair treatment. The second one is right to transparency, fair and honest dealing. And now the third one, it's about the right to privacy. So that bank must be treating all the customer information private and confidential. So confidentiality must be there. So information should be confidential. It should be confidential, right? That without proper authorization, customer data should not be disclosed until or unless if it is not required by the law or the regulatory authorities. And the data protection is very much required. The data protection. Like data protection must be there. There should not be any misuse, fraud, cyber threat. And the security handling should be private, it should be confidential, and for the secure handling of the data must be there. Then the another right, it's related to the right to grievance redressal and the compensation. So banks must quickly rectify the mistakes if there is any. So bank should be acting promptly so as to correct the mistakes and so as to reverse the wrong charges, right? And wherever the customer has suffered a loss, a compensation should be provided to them. So banks should be having a proper compensation policy, and if a customer suffered some loss due to the bank's mistake, definitely that should be compensated. And the complaint handling must be there. There should be a proper complaint handling, and the customer should be informed like where when the particular complaint is like escalated, what is being processed, being followed, and where the further complaint can be escalated. That should be, you know, available to the customer, that how that can be done. Okay. And the members are to display in their bank branches the following information. What information is to be showcased? Like name of the official at the branch, name and the address of the principal nodal officer or zonal manager or the regional manager, that must be indicated. Their name and address, that must be indicated, right? Like if they want to go for the for higher level grievance escalation. So name of the official at the branch is just for the first point of contact. The branch will be the first point of contact, na? And if the customer want to escalate the issue, they can be going to the regional manager, zonal manager, or the principal nodal officer. And if they want to file complaint externally, like even if the complaint is not resolved after filing the complaint for 30 days or they are not getting any appropriate reply, there is banking ombudsman which is available who can handle their complaints, right? So that's about it. Then after that, it's about the code of bank's commitment. That's the second code. Code of bank's commitment to the MSC. And this code was basically introduced in 2008. Related to the customers, related to individuals, it was introduced in 2006. Related to the code which is there so as to provide the protection to the micro small enterprises, that was basically introduced in 2008, right? So it explains that how the bank should be dealing with the micro small enterprises, that how the particular bank is to do deal like related to day banking operations, credit facilities, financial difficulties, stress situations, how the bank should be dealing with them. So let's have the objectives of the code. The first thing it's related to says to promote the fair banking practices. Like I told you, like the MSs should be treated fairly, like minimum standards while dealing with the MSC customers. The transparency must be increased so that MSCs understand banking services and expectations clearly, right? And so as to encourage the market forces through competition, so as to provide much more good services to the MSAs, and also so as to build the cordial relationship with the MSAs, cordial relationship between the MSC and the member banks, and the timely services are to be provided to them. The services should be quick and timely. And when you're handling the customers properly, that will increase the trust and confidence in the banking systems amid the MSs. So those are the objectives of it. And what services are covered over here? Like I told you, related to the deposit accounts, payment services, government transactions, investment services, currency exchange services, right? Transaction custody services, credit services, foreign exchange services, insurance, investment products. Like the same we discussed, right? Those all are covered. And other than that, the factoring services and the merchant services are also covered. These are also covered. Clear with it? Do confirm at the earliest that if you have understood this point so far. Now, after that, it's about the code compliance rating. So, BCSBI actually adopted a rating methodology so as to evaluate that how effectively the member banks are complying with the code of bank's commitment to the customers, right? And for that particular purpose, they did the branch visits, right? They basically evaluated the same through the branch visits, through the customer feedback, right? Through the service quality assessment, so as to look at the conversion of observations into the numerical scores, right? So that particular which was done, like the scoring was done, and the different parameters were assigned. Different parameters are there. These are the different parameters, and there is weightage to one of the each parameter. There is weightage to one of the each parameter, and further you'll be rated out of it. So like information dissemination is given the weightage of 20, transparency 22, customer centricity 30, grievance addressal 15, and customer feedback 13. This is a weightage which is given. This is a weightage which is given, and the total is 100, right? And the rating scale says like if your rating is 85 and above, you're rated high. If your rating is 70 to less than 85, then it will be above average. 60 to less than 70, average, and below 60 it is below average. So that was a rating system, like code compliance rating, we can say CCR, code compliance rating, right? Further after that, it's related to customer grievances handling mechanism. Like banks are to establish a structured mechanism for handling the customer complaints effectively and promptly. The first thing, it's about the customer complaint registration. Like customers are informed about the various channels that like where they can submit their complaint. It could be through a physical mode, like they can be visiting the branch. It could be the telephonic mode. It could be through the telephone, like through a customer care number. It could be any electronic mode, like through email, bank website, online portal, or it could be a digital channel also, like using the mobile banking or the complaint portal itself. The second thing, it's related to designated complaint points are there, like where the complaints can be submitted. Designated complaint points will be there. Complaint handling locations will be there. Customer service centers are there. Dedicated grievance portals are there, right? And the third one, it's related to appropriate complaint receipts. Proper recipients should be there who will be receiving the complaints, and a receipt or a reference number is to be given to the customer. Like the department which is handling the complaints, concerned officers will be there, and proper escalation will be there so as to ensure that the complaints reach the correct authority for the faster resolution. So proper machinery is there. And further, the fourth one is related to escalation of the unresolved complaints. Like bank is to display the name of the grievance officer, related to grievance officer at each of the branch, their contact details, right? And that should be showcased in the branch itself for the customer awareness. Like if the complaint remains unresolved at the branch level, customers can be approaching the higher authorities and even can be approaching the banking ombudsman. That's the final response commitment. For the final response commitment, that's basically related to 30 days, as I told you. Like within the 30 days of the receipt, even if the complaint is not resolved or the customer is not satisfied, the customer can be approaching the RBI ombudsman, right? After that, it's about the general information. General information. Like after the adoption of the code of banks commitment to the customers by the banks, by the member banks, like the previously applied, the previously applicable IBA's voluntary code, that was not now applicable. That was not now applicable. Like bankers fair practice code, right? Fair practice code, fair practice code for credit card operations, model code for collection of dues and repossession of securities. So that won't be separately applicable. Like if you are following the code of bank's commitment to the customers, and that basically also dissolved thereafter, right? And then it is about the CEPD. It's about the CEPD. Now, what is CEPD? It is Consumer Education and Protection Department. It was established in year 2006. And previously it was known as the CSD, like the Customer Service Department, but now it is Consumer Education and Protection Department. And what are the major functions of CPEDR? CEPD, not CPED, it's about the major functions of CEPD. CEPD. First one, it's about the consumer protection policy. The first thing, it's about the consumer protection policy. Like, so as to frame the policy guidelines for the consumer protection. And also so as to supervise the offices of RBI Ombudsman. So as to CE, this is a CEPD only that supervises the RBI Ombudsman. RBI Ombudsman offices. These are the major functions, right? And also it is doing the monitoring, right? So these are the major functions of CEPD. Okay. Now after that, it's about the iOS, RBI iOS scheme. That's the integrated ombudsman scheme. It's about the integrated ombudsman scheme. Now, what is the main objective? So as to resolve the customer grievances. It's all about the complaints. Now, your customer filed a complaint at the branch level, not resolved. That follow to the RO level or ZO level or principal nodal officer PNO, right? Still not resolved in 30 days. The customer will be falling to the ombudsman. That we want the complaints to be resolved, right? So as to resolve the customer grievances, right? Let's say if there was deficiency in service, and at the same time, the objective of the iOS, that is the integrated ombudsman scheme, is related to what? So as to provide a speedy, a very cost-effective, speedy and cost-effective and satisfactory grievance redressal facility to the customers. That's basically related to it. Integrated ombudsman scheme. And there were three schemes particularly, like the banking ombudsman scheme 2006, the ombudsman scheme for the NBFCs, and the ombudsman scheme for the digital transactions. These three schemes were basically consolidated, right? So let's have a look at the features of the integrated ombudsman scheme 2021. First of all, as I told you that it's a single unified scheme. It's basically is what? It's a single unified scheme. Like customers need not identify the correct scheme separately. That they are not to identify that what where in what particular scheme they are to go. No, not neither is to be checked. Right. So it's a single unified scheme. The second thing, it's related to the complaints are filed based upon the deficiency in services. The complaints are filed based upon deficiency in services. So this scheme defines the deficiency in services on filing the particular complaint, right? And due to which there are reduced reductions, there are reduced rejections. Like complaints cannot be rejected merely because they are outside the earlier listed grounds. It's not the case. There are exclusions which are defined particularly, but the rejections are now reduced. And there is a centralized receipt processing center, CRPC, and this CRPC is at Chandigarh, right? So it's a RBI has established a centralized receipt and processing center, and the multi-language complaints can be handled. Multi-language complaints can be handled over here, like the physical and for the email complaints can be submitted in any of the languages, in any of the languages. And responsibility of representing the regulated entity and furnishing information in respect of the complaints filed with the customers against the entity would be of the PNO. Like it will be the PNO who will be responsible. PNO's responsibility related to what? The PNO's responsibility is related to complaint handling, right? So the complaint handling responsibility is with whom? It is with the PNO, principal nodal officer. And what would be the rank of the PNO? It will be the general manager in the public sector banks or equivalent, right? And no appeal, like the regulated entity cannot appeal where the award is issued for the failure. Like if the timely and satisfactory information was not provided by the regulated entity, if the timely information was not provided by the regulated entity, right? Or the information was not provided by the regulated entity, then the regulated entity cannot be appealing. And who will be the appellate authority? Like I told you about CEPD will be the appellate authority. The executive director in charge of the consumer education and protection department would be the appellate authority that act as the appellate authority. Clear with it? And after that, it's about the entities which are covered. Which entities are covered over here under this particular scheme? So all the commercial banks, like including the private sector banks, private sector banks, foreign banks, local area banks, small finance banks, RRBs, scheduled urban cooperative banks, non-scheduled banks, all those are covered. And even the NBFCs which are registered with the Reserve Bank of India, like all NBFCs, but not including the housing finance companies, right? And further, which are authorized so as to accept the deposits. Those NBFCs which are not HFCs and which are authorized so as to accept the deposits are having the customer interface or the asset size of 100 crore rupees or more. Those are basically eligible under the banking ombudsman. And all the system participants like which are the part of the payment system, right? Which are facilitating the payments like NEFT, RTGS, UPI, BBPS, Bharat QR or USSD code, AEPS, etc. Those all will be covered into it. And even all the CICs, credit information companies like CIBIL, Experian, those all will be covered. Those all are covered. Now, what is the award? What are the awards which can be issued by the RBI iOS? Like I just told you that this scheme was launched on in 2021 by the Reserve Bank of India, and the previous schemes were basically done with, right? So we are not dealing with that. And what could be the different grounds of complaint? Like there is if there is delay in payment, like if you are uh, going to the bank and there is delay in the payment, there is delay in the remittance, or RBI guidelines are not followed, or the wrong charges or penalties are being imposed, or internet banking, mobile banking problem is there, or mis-selling of product is there, any could of the same reasons related to it, right? Now the first they are to approach the bank. First, you have to approach the bank. You have to tell them that we are facing this issue. Now, if you're not getting any reply for 30 days, or you're not getting satisfactory reply for the 30 days, right? In that scenario, you can be reaching out the integrated ombudsman scheme. So you'll be submitting the complaint. And what is the time limit for filing the complaint to the ombudsman? What is the limitation? It is 1 year. It is 1 year from the date of complaint. It is basically 1 year, like after the final reply, or within 1 year plus 30 days from the date of complaint, right? And further, the complaint should not be pending anywhere. Like it should not be pending before any court, tribunal, or arbitrator. Only then it can be filed. And further, what is the compensation limit under the banking ombudsman scheme? It is 20 lakh rupees, like the maximum award which can be passed by the banking ombudsman. It is 20 lakh rupees. And further, for the compensation for mental injury and harassment, the maximum amount of compensation is 1 lakh rupees. Like related to the compensation for the mental agony and harassment, it is 1 lakh rupees. And even the complaints can be rejected, like if the complaint is frivolous, right, or vexatious in nature, then it can be rejected. If there is no deficiency in service, then it can be rejected, right? And if the matter is pending before any court, if the complaint without suitable causes, sufficient causes filed, then it can be rejected, right? And what is the appellate authority? It is a executive director in charge of CEPD, the appellate authorities there, right? And for complaint filing, what is the appellate authority? It is a deputy governor of Reserve Bank of India, right? So that will be all related to this video. I hope that you must have liked the content of this video. So just do rate this video out of 10. And if you want to get all the videos and PDF notes and questions, just do WhatsApp writing the RBWM. You just need to write RBWM and WhatsApp it to the number 83609 44207. The one-liners for all the four modules of RBWM is also available. If you want to get the same, just do write RBWM1 and I'll be sharing all the PDFs with you. If you want the PDFs, all the PDFs, just WhatsApp RBWM. If you want to get the one-liners, you need to WhatsApp me RBWM1. So thank you so much and see you again in the next video.